everything stated in this video is my opinion and my opinion only. And just like everything else in these cases we discuss here on this channel, everything is alleged. Hey guys, good morning. It's before noon. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? Hey, how you doing, girl? Hey, Sandra. Hey, Sadie. Hey, Verity. Hey, Kimberly. MV. How you guys doing? Hey, I see that you're telling me that you sent an email. I don't have any emails from you. I don't have any emails. I don't know if something's going wrong with however you're putting in like the email, but it seems like you've been trying to email me for like a long time. Let me put it in here one more time. Because I don't have any emails from you. Okay, there it is one more time. I don't know what's going on with that. That's wild. But I did see that and I was like, I don't have any emails. Hey, Kirsty, how you doing? Hey, Dawn. How are you? Hey, good vibes. Hey there, Gloria. Hey, Shine Louder. I've requested things. I haven't gotten any responses. So somebody's given stuff to Gray Hughes. Because I don't think he's in Idaho. I guess I could be wrong. I don't really care about where he lives, honestly. But if he's in Idaho, I guess I would explain something. But it's always odd whenever he gets something that's not supposed to really be out there right after certain people say things. But this time we're not having certain people say things before he gets things. It's the Chapins now who have filed something after Maddie's mom did. And now suddenly this video is in Gray's possession. So I don't know what's going on with that. Hey, Tennessee. Yeah, I do want to go over some of it, especially with what we're seeing now and the stuff that Gray put out. And the report that we have from the girl claiming that that black truck is hers. I mean, I guess it's possible since there's like so many vehicles that look similar when it comes to SV1 that there could be more than one, souped up truck with the deep engine sound. But for that one to be leaving at 423, 424 from the Linda Lane parking lot, I don't see how we're now seeing a similar one coming in at 2627. Something's wrong there. Something's really just off there. I just don't know which one's off, but something's off. Something feels off with that. It's the same engine tone and everything. Like that deep bubble tone. It's the same one. It has the same like cab look and shape. Yeah, no, we have to because there's just too much. Hey, Kara, how you doing? Hey, Danny. Hey, Paige. Hey, B. Yeah, I'm expecting there to be a different group. The majority, I guess not really majority, but for the majority, like a different group in today's live because it's in such a different time frame. Bernie. Oh, I know all about Bernie. So we're going to see. Hey, Gwennin, how you doing? Hey there, Erica. So I'm hoping that like we get the other side to be able to come in on these morning ones. Hey, Kathy. Hey, Rebecca. Hey, Black Milk. Hey, Queen. Hey there, Deb. Hey, Eve. Hey, Shenanigans. Hey, Aunt Boo Boo. Hey there, Arizona. Hey, Real Lies. Hey there, John. Okay, are y'all ready to get ready? Actually, I want to show you guys something first. I saw this a minute ago. We're going to go over this video real quick. I don't know if he says anything. I got to a certain like 2.5 minutes in or whatever, and I was like, okay, we're just going to watch this morning. So this is like an interview thing that Dallinger did that came out today. And it's like 8 minutes. But I found it interesting that whenever they asked him, like in the portion that I heard, that whenever they asked him about like his response and like getting to the scene or whatever, he was like asked about getting to the scene and he was like immediately. And I'm like, but you didn't tell them how you didn't go inside the house. So you like being at the crime scene, just like some media guy doesn't really like do much. You didn't go inside. You said so yourself. So I don't know, like all of a sudden he's putting more importance on what he did that day because he wasn't the captain then. He was like, he ended up being the person that was the media guy. You know what I mean? So I want to watch this before we get into some more documents. Still going to put this one up here though. And yeah, let's see what he says all the way. Because the title says something about Kohberger connection to victims. And I'm like, oh, are they going to try to come out and change their story now? Like slowly come out and like try to say something that they haven't been saying all along, because they've already said that this doesn't exist. So I'm curious to see what he's going to say. So we're going to watch this real quick. This is from Fox News. It says it came out today on the 21st.
2022 murder of 4 University of Idaho students. He sat down with our own Fox News contributor Paul Morrow in a Fox and Friends exclusive interview. Take a look.
In 2022, when the task force,
the audio, either my headphones are breaking, which is quite possible, or the audio for his microphone is bad.
Was formed to investigate the Kohberger case. What was your role at the time?
At the time, I was our.
It almost sounds like the reporter is using the microphone that's on the cop, because it sounds real far away.
Our services division commander. I was at rank of captain, and that position oversees our investigative unit.
What was the feeling inside the task force as far as whether or not you were going to get there, whether you were going to solve this thing?
Yeah, the feeling, it was palpable. We were all on the same sheet of music. We had the same drive, the same.
He uses that word in every interview. Every single one so far. And yeah, just because you were on the same page doesn't mean that y'all were on to who y'all ended up arresting. We've already seen the proof that that's not out there yet. If there's something out there that actually shows that they had something on Kohberger or were looking at him or anything of the sort before they had the DNA match, then they're not showing it. So either it's going to be completely FBI and they left ISP and Moscow completely in the dark, and they're the ones causing all this chaos, or it's just not true. I've been waiting for it. That's why we're going through every single document, because we're trying to find it, and it's not there. It's not like we're trying to purposely miss anything. If that were the case, we would be literally cherry picking everything. We wouldn't be going through every single document, no matter how completely redundant it is. We are trying to find it. They're not showing it. So I really am doubting its existence even more than before.
Fire in our belly.
So let's go to the night of. All right. It's November 13, 2022.
This happened in our house. We don't know what.
What is the address of the emergency?
1122.
Shortly after the call.
I mean, I'm sorry for the people that are seeing me for the first time, rolling my eyes at that. With the way that we know that they behaved afterwards, everything that we know now about that 8-hour delay, you can't help but roll your eyes at that. There's just too much. There's just too much.
All came in and, didn't expect to hear what I heard on the other end of the line, that we had not only a homicide, but we had a quadruple homicide. 4 U of I students were killed. And my initial reaction was disbelief.
Heavy crime scene for you guys. Mm-hmm. Did you go to the scene?
Immediately.
But didn't go in the house. Per an interview that you did a week ago. You're not going to admit that, though. At least not in this one. Probably because you got told, don't you ever say that again.
So, Chief, we're here at the site. Obviously, the house is gone. Where was the camera that had that video and audio that ended up being so dispositive?
It was on the front side of that house right there.
This house here?
Yep, on the other side.
See, okay, I'm so glad that they actually showed this. A lot of people are still very confused about the 11/12 footage that we keep going over. Even though I put a disclaimer in the beginning of the video where I slowed down the 15x stuff from the Idaho Statesman and then put not 11/22 on the screen, I'm glad they're showing this. Okay, the camera that we are seeing when we're watching the 3-point turns in what I believe is a manual vehicle, and we're seeing Molly drive in and out and walking around and being all weird, it's right here. It's this little black dot thingy right here. The house is here. The house is here. The reason why I don't believe that Murphy was just out on the back balcony is because his bark goes into different echo zones, echo levels. You can tell at some point he is here, he's at this house, on this side in the parking lot, maybe in between 11:12 and 11:18, like he is hella close to that camera. And then in other times, it sounds like he's completely on the opposite side of King Road, like way over there where their landscape is, or maybe even like in the front area of the parking lot. Like you can tell he is moving. He is moving. So I don't think that he was just out on the balcony. Some people believe so. I don't believe so. I could be wrong. But the way that it sounds, again, just in the versions that are out there, not in anything official I've gotten myself to compare it to, but just what's out there now. It sounds like he was moving, not just held in place. So I'm glad that they put this out here because it needed to be cleared up a little bit more, I guess, which is fine. Thank you for the $9.99, Erica. Get yourself a coffee or tea, please. I've got a coffee right here. I just don't know if it's going to do much good. My allergies are bothering me so bad because that lawnmower came in and we put it together and started mowing, and I didn't realize how bad it was going to be. Like we basically had to do like 3 passes on each strip because it was just so bad. So now my allergies are bothering me. Slade's allergies are bothering him. Today's a day. And we're not even done because then it rained. And so we had to put it off. Lots of coffee. Lots of coffee. Thank you so much. Thank you for the $19.99 Tea Hoppy. Go beans. Go beans. My garden thing. That reminds me. Joanna. Thank you so much for the Cash App. But I can't reply, just like disclaimer. If you guys send anything on Cash App with like those customized messages, there's no way for me to reply. Like I've looked and there's nothing. So thank you, Lakota, and thank you, Joanna, because y'all sent like a cute little message, and Joanna's was about like the $20 for gardening, which thank you so much. And I couldn't reply, and I felt bad because normally I try to always make sure that I reply to everything. I don't know why Cash App did that. So thank you for reminding me with the bean comment that I needed to bring that up because I planned to, because I wanted to address it. So thank you. Thank you for reminding me.
Pointing at the intersection?
Correct.
And that's, I would assume, how you knew a white Elantra was something of interest to put out. After he does the 3-point turn that you guys captured on the camera, Bryan Kohberger comes up this driveway and parks in this parking lot, and then essentially surveils the victims from a vantage point up here before making his way down into the back door.
Are they just assuming this because the back door is like the only thing they really have? Because I know that this was said in court by Xana. But is that just an assumption because they don't have anything else? Or do they actually have a car driving up there and parking the same way that they have Molly? And if so, then why have they pretended this entire time that they only have 11-12 that's worth a shit? And we didn't know anything, at least anything official. Like I said, Mikey had sent me an email about it, and he had sent that information to another channel like a year and a half or so ago about the cameras in front of King Road that would have captured this parking lot action. But we've been asking this for forever. Like, there's nothing on the doors. Like, even if you can't see the back door completely or at all, you can see the path. You could see if somebody came from around a certain direction. So if they've had a camera the entire time that says this, but they still had to use Ridge Road to tell me what kind of car it was, then how does that track? This is a closer camera that, again, can see the parking area of King Road, which means they could see every car that like passed right there. They're claiming the car passes behind Molly. Actually, their verbiage in her report is that it pulled in behind her. So in all of this, in her report, she's not claiming to have seen this happen whatsoever. So is this actually on camera? The way that they have Molly on camera apparently pulling in? Or is this something that they're freaking making up? Because Molly was living in that moment apparently, right? And she didn't tell them anything about a car pulling in behind her or even seeing a white car. Hers was tan. And we saw how if you slowed down the crap that Idaho Statesman did, and I'm sure that it's in Gray's too. I didn't stop for that part. I went straight to like the timeline of the event to listen to things. You can see a vehicle leaving. And it looks a little bit darker shaded, but not too much. But you can tell there's probably like a little bit of difference in the color. We're just going to pass that by. We're not going to acknowledge the fact that whatever you said that she said, she didn't say. Because I still find it really interesting. All of this stuff went down like right after her body cam stuff started coming out and her lies were getting exposed. I really wonder if they even knew that she was on camera saying that shit because of how quickly everything sort of escalated. Because this report proves that everything she was saying in those videos is a lie. Must be nice to be a paid snitch.
Correct. And these trees are a lot thinner. And from here, you were looking right down.
Yeah. I'm going back and looking into like my brain now. I guess it was because you could see more of the house from that area before. They're not wrong.
Through these trees into the second floor of the home. And those sliding glass doors that were not locked.
Correct. We did have information, obviously, at the onset that we thought he'd come in and out from the back door.
Right.
We had the back door was ajar when we arrived. Dylan's testimony about seeing him heading in the direction of the back door.
But then again, what about her testimony of he would have had to scale a tall wall to get in through that door? That door doesn't make any sense. Or there's such a drop off that patio. Why would he have gone out that door? That makes no sense. That doesn't tell me back door from the kitchen. That tells me Kaylee's door, which is just even more confusing because you wouldn't say that you would have to scale a tall wall to use the patio door that everyone that was acquainted with you in that home considered the front door. And it's, again, she doesn't just say it like one time in one reference. She uses it both for incoming and outgoing because of the drop-off and a tall wall. That's weird as shit. So then you also have to wonder what else is fabricated, because if that was part of her original report, then where did it go? And why was that one of her original thoughts, if it even was one of her actual original thoughts? Because that's detailed and in the opposite direction of what we've been told.
So that obviously led us to this area. Now, one thing that we do know about this area is vehicularly, there's only
Okay, let me go check right now. I'll go check it right now.
one way in, one way out. We had members from every agency out here on foot, canvassing every square inch that we possibly could for days, checking every single home for any kind of camera system, talking to anybody who we could get a hold of to see if they were around, or if they heard anything, saw anything that night. You know, starting this.
I got it. What happened? How come I didn't get any of these before? What was wrong? I've never seen this name before. This is the first time one of your emails have ever come in. And I'm going to make sure too. That's crazy. This is the only... Oh, no. I have one from the 18th. Oh. Why was it not showing up? I need to go through my filters. Okay, we're not on that one yet, but I think that one comes up today. Step 82. That one's going to be coming up today. So, okay.
It's investigation from the ground up, and it was a whodunit.
Were you guys aware inside the task force of the intense media interest in this, and maybe some of the skepticism that began to develop whether or not you'd get a solve?
Well, that was one part of this investigation that we certainly weren't ready for. Didn't think it was going to happen. None of us thought that this would turn into an international media event.
Oh, please.
And it caught us off guard.
There's a lot of
There's no way that you didn't know, bro.
Online and elsewhere regarding what occurred in the house. What did you find when you got there?
Upon arrival, the initial officers found Xana and Ethan in.
He just called her Xana. Holy shit. And notice how he just went around that because he never went inside the house. So he can't answer the question of what did you discover or find whenever you got there, because he never went inside. So he just had to start that with the responding officers so that he's not a liar. Got to catch it.
Xana's bedroom on the second floor,
Right.
And then on the third floor in Maddie's room were Maddie and Kaylee.
Why do you think he did not attack Dylan?
Again, that's just pure speculation. We just don't know.
Did he see her? Definitely.
From her recollection, if I recall, she did say that they looked at each other.
Their eyeballs met.
Correct.
Their eyeballs
And yet he
met.
walked right by.
Correct.
So no, eyeballs met and walked right by. No, sir, because now her entire recollection has nothing to do with that hallway unless she's like obviously seeing more than one person and she's not like putting it all together. She cannot say he was 3 feet away from her in the hallway, but then say that she only saw him as he was going out the back slider, and only as he was going out the back slider, their eyes met. There is a huge difference in about 15 feet. So no, which one is it? Which one is it? It can't be both.
All this speculation, why did she call 911? Am I wrong in saying that even had she called 911, there was likely nothing that was going to be able to be done for the victims?
That's correct.
Dylan gives the description, and it's a pretty good description. It ends up being important, I believe. Body size.
It really doesn't, because you're locking eyes with someone. We now have reports claiming that you weren't feeling it. So you weren't drinking. So all of the things about you are like been unraveling. So you're going to tell me that you took it upon yourself to go and find this guy's photo as soon as he was arrested, still claimed that y'all looked each other in the freaking face, but then you told the cops straight out the gate that he didn't look familiar. So you like have all this detail for eyeballs, but don't recognize the eyeballs that looked at you when you weren't drunk, when you were very aware of the situation, whenever you were scared, too scared to go down to Xana's room, too scared to leave Bethany's room for 8 hours to even use the restroom per your own recollection story. You don't remember seeing those eyes? I'm sorry, but his eyes are so deeply set. The way that his eyebrows are shaped are so distinguishable. There's no way that she couldn't have at least been like, there's maybe a little bit of recollection there, but he doesn't look completely remember. I'm not sure. She straight up told the police, I don't recognize him. The day he was arrested. Their eyewitness did not recognize the suspect. So how did we go from that to this bullshit that we're being fed now? Everything about her being too intoxicated to remember anything or know what's going on has literally been chipped and chipped and chipped and chipped and chipped away. This is why there was no trial. She, and whatever's Bethany's hiding, because there's more coming out with that too. That sounds like it's all bullshit.
His shape, body type, bushy eyebrows, balaclava. Was her description not an important piece of the puzzle?
Certainly was. Yeah, it was helpful. And then once we identified,
we're trashing her for being a liar because she's a liar, and that's coming out in the documents itself. So maybe go back to elementary school and learn how to read before having an opinion. Okay, thanks.
by the suspect, those details that she was able to give did match.
There's some recent reporting that Kohberger was heard by Dylan literally saying Kaylee's name during the attack. That would argue, obviously, that he knew who was in the house by name and that there had to be some kind of previous contact. Is that accurate? Did the task force hear this?
Not that I can recall. I'm not quite sure where they got that report, but that doesn't seem accurate to me.
So let's just talk about that report, since there seems to be somebody in here that's not paying attention to life. When that was said, it was said to Talbot, who was assigned to be the lead detective by ISP within a handful of minutes from getting the call to assist. Blaker is the person who verbally stated this to Talbot, and it's only the most important name besides Payne's because Blaker is the one who wrote all the search warrants and the arrest warrants that got sent over to Pennsylvania and to Washington for all of the things that we end up going through and looking at today. Nowhere in Blaker's own report does it state this. As a matter of fact, Blaker and Payne's reports are pretty much copy and paste until you get to the knife sheath discovery. So if this would have been real and if this would have been said, then the man who relayed it to Talbot, who then wrote it in a report, should have had it in his own report. Should he not have? Should this not be on some sort of body cam or something somewhere? Should he not have had the same information in his own information that, again, went for the arrest and all of the search warrants? It wasn't there. This isn't true. What she claims to have heard has changed like 6 times. If you read things, you would know that.
You don't remember hearing anything about him saying the name of Kaylee or any of the girls?
Correct. The only thing that I believe was reported was that he said something. Someone heard a voice say something along the lines of, "It's okay, I'm here to help you."
Why this house? Why these girls? What do you? Any theories from the task force?
No, we
Not
weren't
just
able to
these
track
girls.
down any connection.
None whatsoever.
None.
Including online.
Correct. Now, our investigators dug very deeply into social media and all of the potential avenues and all of the tips that we got pointing towards that, and we're never able to establish a connection. We did find, once we got his devices, that he had been routinely wiping them and using programs to do such. But in all of our other dives into all of the social media of everybody involved, we weren't able to find any kind of a connection. Everybody wants to know. Everybody wants to know why. Why this house? Why these kids? And we just don't have that information. And I don't.
No connections. I don't want to hear about him wiping his devices and cleaning his devices. If that was the truth, they would not have all of the information that they do have. They wouldn't have been able to track things that he was researching. They wouldn't be able to see all these photos he apparently had on his phone. They wouldn't be able to know that he was looking up the case as of November 16th after the first press conference. They wouldn't know all those things if he was wiping and cleaning his devices. So what does that mean to this cop right here? What does that mean? That he has his browser set on delete history once it closed, like 90,000% of people do? Does he have it to where something routinely cleans the junk files and the cookies and all of the bullshit out of your computers like most people do? Is that what you mean? I know there's a report out here from the Barnharts that we're going to be going over soon, especially when it comes to what they're claiming is going on with his stuff. But if he was really wiping and cleaning things, don't you think they wouldn't have like anything? They wouldn't have all these things that they're using against him now, if that were the case. So they're using that probably really loosely.
Don't think we ever will.
All right. Let's bring in Fox News contributor Paul Morrow. So, Paul, we spent many days out there. I kind of got chills as you were walking the crime scene.
So is this done? Is Dallinger finished so we can get back to reports? Yeah, because I don't really care what this mainstream idiot has to say. Yeah, that's why I wanted to watch it, because they are bringing people in, which I guess I can't even honestly be mad about, because the people that have like this dead set target that there's no questions here are going to see this, oh, they found the connection title on that bullshit, right? And then they're going to listen and they're going to hear him say, no, nothing. We dug so deep, couldn't find damn thing. No, nobody could find anything. So hopefully that does something, because that's the truth. They couldn't find a damn thing. He wiped everything so clean, but they found this and they found this and they found this and they found that. I'm still waiting. We wade through everything because we're looking for it, not because we're trying to ignore what people are thinking, because we're looking for the facts. We're just wanting the facts. And so far, the facts are pointing to not what they're telling us. And it's amazing how they can even be telling us that at the exact same time. Like they sentence this man, and then they come out and they do a Q&A and they have no answers. That Q&A after the sentencing was the most disappointing thing I think they've ever aired on TV in the history of TV. They should be ashamed to come out here with no answers. Like it's normal. I would have quit. I'm sorry. I would have quit. If I was working on a case and we got to this point and we just sentenced somebody to 4 consecutive or whatever, 4 life sentences, and he's never getting out and all these things, and I have to come out to the public and be like, we don't know shit. I'll quit before I hit that microphone. That's embarrassing. Jesus Christ. Have you noticed if the date of the pressers where they cleared all the people lines up with these interviews? I haven't looked. I haven't even looked. You really need to learn how to use Google. Jesus Christ. I even gave you a video with like over 30 people, and then we did one by itself about Lucas Anderson. You know, doing some research on things besides just the one case that you want to do this about really does wonders, I promise. Okay, supplement number 76. I know that I've got something to say is mentioning that supplement 82 really might bring some things forward about Kara. Now, I know that there's a certain creator out here, and just because he might be right on something maybe a little bit doesn't mean I'm going to support him. I'm sorry, and I understand how people feel about certain things, but I can't support people who have lived certain ways or might still be living certain ways, and there's just a standard I have. And if I have to set that standard for my personal life, then I have to set that standard for every aspect of my life. So if there's certain things in someone's past, I can't support certain things, no matter how right they might be about something. I'll give them credit for maybe having the correct theory, but when it comes to, I'm going to send people over there and I'm going to dig into every little thing, I'm sorry, I can't do that. I'll throw up constantly. That's just not really going to happen. But if something does end up being right about something, I have no problem admitting that. That's another reason why we wade through everything, because I'm waiting for just the one thing to be like, holy shit, we were wrong. I was wrong. Blah, blah, blah. And we haven't found that yet. So when we get to supplement 82, we're going to slow down and pay lots of attention. But right now we're going to start. Yes, I know. I still stand by what I said. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and go with number 76. That's where we left off on 75 yesterday in last night's live. And that one was about the Range Rover purchase, which was really just like reiterating information that we've already known. Information that we've already known about the down payment and other things. Now, I don't know what's going on with, I'm not even going to put like the names of where this is coming from because I haven't seen it myself. I just know what I'm being told. But apparently there's a channel that has seen the same report that we have seen about the car being sold on the 12th and like apparently her dad showing up whenever she sold the car and stuff like that. We determined in that report that they got the dates wrong because she put the down payment on the vehicle and drove away with the vehicle on the 10th. She wouldn't have sold the car 2 days later, and she was in Moscow on the 12th, so she wouldn't have been anywhere to deal with any of that stuff. So whoever wrote that report had the date wrong because she took that $6,500 to the dealership. She didn't have it after she got the Range Rover. She had it before she got the Range Rover. So there's a lot of people that are trying to put that Steve Goncalves and Kaylee were like together on the 12th. To me, unless there's something I haven't seen yet, that report was a damn typo. And for people that were reading the rest of the reports and saw the dates and have known the date that she got the Range Rover in the first place would have like seen that as a typo. So that's just what I'm seeing so far. Girl, it's out there. I'm not running my mouth. It's out there. It's out there in list form. Go to Twitter. Go look. I don't have to say anything. It's out there. It's proven and it's out there. And I'm just going to say it at that. Okay, let's go ahead and get started with this one. This is Leslie Lehman with detective. She's a detective with District Number 1. We have this person and Cody Herman responding to something located in Pullman. Met with the store manager. Is this around the time that they were getting a bunch of surveillance footage? Pullman has, see, this is why I don't believe anything that they're honestly saying about like not wanting Pullman to help. Because all the Pullman documentation that we've been getting, there's been 4 drops so far. And it shows that they were looking at surveillance footage in certain areas. They had gone to the like main area where the WSU cameras were like centralized and told them to save footage for just in case purposes. They were going to like all these different businesses all over Pullman and asking them to like either hold on to it or give them a copy of it. And that was before the BOLO. That was before the BOLO. So I don't know exactly what's going on with why they're trying to say that Chief Fry didn't want them helping, because at some point they had to have gotten some sort of direction from someone, because there's emails from before the official BOLO was sent to them from Brett Payne of them looking for certain vehicles, even a certain year range. And then that year range changed whenever the official BOLO from Payne came out. So someone was telling them something. So again, that whole thing about, oh, well, I knew I had to keep this so hush hush. I didn't want to ask Pullman for help. I didn't want WSU helping. I don't know how true that is, because of everything we're seeing from the Pullman documentation. And even that, like, why are you having to not be honest about that? Why are you having to not be honest about who you asked to help? Just because the person that was arrested ended up being from WSU in the Pullman area at the time, why are you not being honest about them helping you? That just makes it look dumb. That just makes it look dumb. Okay. This is receipts, video footage, and store member history that were provided by this person regarding visits made to the store by whoever this is with a date of birth in the 2000. Blank visited blank on November 13th, 2022 at 10:49 hours. Blank's purchase was trackable through a receipt in a store membership program. Blank provided printouts of blank receipt and his purchase history starting on September 14th, 2022. Using the timestamp on the receipt, the video footage was reviewed. Blank can be seen parking in front of the store, exiting a black BMW. Blank was dressed in a University of Idaho gray sweatshirt, black pants, and wearing a brown beanie. I took still shots of the video and forwarded them via text to FBI agent Rob Hill. Why are they looking at a black BMW? I think this is like the second time we've heard them talk about looking at someone in a black BMW, and I don't understand that. Because if the car that you swear that you're looking for is a white Elantra, why are you looking at a black car, a guy in a black car? That's confusing. Overton was provided a USB drive to preserve requested video. On November 17th, 2022 at 11:53 hours, I retrieved the USB drive from blank. The drive and paperwork collected from blank was given to Agent Hill. Photos and copies of the documentation I collected will be saved to discs and provided to Moscow Police Department as part of this supplement. What is this for? Why are we discussing a 22-year-old white male in a black BMW in Pullman? What did they buy? What was the point? A weapon, maybe? Like, was it a knife purchase? That wouldn't even make any sense. This is somebody that would have visited this place and bought this, whatever this was, before the 911 call, because this was on November 13th at 10:49. I wonder if this is... No. Showalter doesn't have a black BMW. It's like maybe they're trying to see if he went to Floyd's. I don't think he has a black Beamer. Okay, supplement 77. That whole document was confusing. All right, this is Leslie Lehman again. Okay. Her and Detective Brittany Clark went to blank, located at blank in Moscow. Blank was walking out the door and told me he was the last of 2 occupants in the building. Blank, with year of birth 2001, spoke to me about his knowledge of the victims in this case. Oh, I don't like how this looks on his screen. Hold on. Okay. Now it's better. Okay. Former blank member blank with year of birth 2000 was interviewed at his home on November 18th, 2022. Year of birth 2004 was interviewed by phone on November 18th, 2022. And 21-year-old white male, 22-year-old male, 18-year-old white male. Here we have a black Mazda being discussed. So we've got multiple black vehicles being talked about. Why? I really want to know why they're looking at stuff with these black vehicles. I don't think that we see anything that looks that dark. This is interesting. Black vehicles. Okay. Blank was walking out the door and told me he was the last of 2 occupants in the building. The others had left to return home. Blank said he was away at a blank game over the weekend of November 12th, 2022. Blank said fraternity brothers blank and blank were also on the blank and out of town. Blank said blank was the blank and was out of town. These blanks are never going to not drive me insane, to the point of how I have to just eventually let out a little bit of a laugh because it's driving me absolutely batty. The last occupant in the building, blank with year of birth 2001, came to the front door to speak to me. Blank said he knew the female victims and they had been to his fraternity house on many occasions. Blank said he is a blank and saw the victims the night prior to the homicide. Blank believed the video evidence from the blank had been secured by law enforcement. Blank could not recall anything that would be helpful to the investigation. Cool. On November 18th, 2022, the FBI staff was given the previous information and agreed to start calling the members of the blank. blank and securing their information and current location. It was discovered blank with year of birth 2000 was still in the Moscow area. I called blank and he agreed to meet me at his residence located at blank in Moscow on the University of Idaho campus. At 11:30, ISP detective Jacob Schwecke and I met with blank. Blank said he is not a member of blank anymore. Blank said he knew victim Ethan and knew he was a blank. Blank knew victim Xana and had attended parties with her. Blank knew victim Kaylee through his girlfriend blank. Blank knew victim Maddie through his blank. Why can't we know the actual like affiliation here? Like, come on. Okay. Blank said he was inebriated the evening of 11/12/22. Blank remembered seeing Kaylee and Maddie at the club. Blank was unsure of the exact times, but believes it was around 1 a.m. on 11/13/22 when he was picked up by the sober bro. Blank thinks he went to the blank convenience store and purchased alcohol. From the blank took blank home. From whatever store this is, the person that was driving took this person home. Blank spent the rest of the evening at home with roommate Blank and his girlfriend Blank and her friend. The last time Blank was at the crime scene at 1122 King Street was last semester, spring of 2022. Blank considers Blank a good guy and knew he was not in Moscow the weekend of November 12, 2022. On November 18th, 2022 at 16:30 hours, I called Blank with year of birth 2004. Blank said he was in Boise, Idaho, but agreed to speak to me via the phone. The call was recorded. Blank confirmed he was the sober driver for the blank on the evening of November 12, 2022, starting at 1700 until approximately 2 a.m. on November 13th. Blank uses his phone and riders send him text or call him to give them rides. Blank said he uses his own vehicle, a blank with this Idaho plate. Blank said the night consisted of taking riders to the football game, the blank apartments in Moscow, Idaho, blank and back to the blank house. Blank also confirmed he returned blank and blank to their home blank. I hate this so much. Blank said the party at the blank appeared to have 20 to 30 people, but he did not go into the party. Blank gave a verbal rundown of his text messages and who he gave rides to. Notably, Blank said he gave a ride to the blank at 21:30 hours. Blank said everyone he gave a ride to, he returned back to the blank house. Blank confirmed he returned blank and blank to their home at this address. Blank said blank was the only person he gave a ride to the blank at 21:30 hours. Blank did not give blank a ride to his home off campus. Blank knows blank lives near the homicide scene in an apartment. This was the extent of my inquiries from the members of blank. Okay, so they spoke with several people, obviously, because it was like multiple males. Okay. Some fraternity. The audio recording of the blank interview. Why is this interview got a special name? All of these blanks, bro. Right? Like beep, 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 beep. It's so crazy. I wish I had like, this is where I would like allow AI to do this, to like be some sort of like live connection to where every time I had to say blank, it actually like made the beep noise. That would be beautiful. It really would be so crazy. Like, how are we supposed to know anything and not sound like we are absolutely insane by reading this kind of stuff? Absolutely wild. Okay, number 78. This was written by Timothy Snell on 11/18 of 22. They contacted somebody with a year of birth of 2002 regarding the homicides, and this is an interview that was conducted by the phone. 20-year-old white female. You've seen this town before. And then 19-year-old white female. Okay. Blank stated she was at the lodge party with Xana and Ethan on the night prior to the homicide, and they discussed going to Applebee's the following day. Blank stated nothing was out of the ordinary throughout the evening. Blank stated she knew everyone in the Twitch video with Kaylee and Maddie. Blank named Blank and stated he was a blank fraternity member providing sober rides. Blank named a second person in the video as Blank. Blank said she heard blank and blank drove Goncalves and Mogen home. Okay, so now we have two names that are not the names that we've obviously been told, because we know that it's Eric that did that. But there was also another report that said that somebody thought that by the way that like, I guess Maddie and Kaylee acted when they got into the vehicle, it made them believe that it was Ethan and Xana that had picked them up. And that was the first time that we've ever heard that. So I don't know what that person claimed to have like really seen or what the interaction was like, but that's what they said, was that they thought that it was actually Xana and Ethan. And that was the first time we'd ever heard that. So now we have another third different report. And this one has 2 different names. Unless this is like Bethany and Dylan. Maybe this person just assumed that Bethany and Dylan picked them up. I mean, it'd be nice if they would like at least not redact their names to make a little bit, this a little bit easier. Blank said both Blank and Blank called into the tip line to advise law enforcement. Blank stated she heard a person named Blank stopped by the King Street residence to meet with Kernodle. Blank is also a blank and is dating Blank. Okay, so this is the second time that we've heard somebody say that somebody in Ethan's frats, well, the first one said somebody that was something with Ethan when it came to the frat. So we just assumed like some sort of frat brother went to the house after the party, which would have been crucial because one of the things that was reported that Dylan said was that she just thought it was a friend of Ethan and Xana's leaving for the night. In one of her, it wasn't a threat, but honestly, yeah, it was, because you're saying all these other things. So then there was that report. Now this is a second time that we have somebody claiming that they heard another person went to King Street after the party. Now, instead of Ethan, though, it's Xana that they're putting the person with. Blank stated she was primarily friends with Kernodle and her friend group was not close with Goncalves and Mogen. During follow-up questioning, Blank explained the lodge parties always end at 1, and she last spoke with Kernodle between 12:45 and 1 that morning. According to Blank, the lodge party was tame and not very many people attended due to the short duration of planning for it. It was also apparently not supposed to even be happening. That other report, there was another report that said that there was something going on called Envision Idaho or something like that. So there was not supposed to be any of this stuff going on. Like the party wasn't supposed to happen whatsoever. That's why they claimed like not a lot of people were there. So we're getting a bunch of different stories when it comes to that. But that 1 o'clock thing is also interesting because David Barriota claims that he saw Xana and Ethan walking out the door at like 1:40 and that she apparently made a comment to him about, you never come see me anymore. And I'm like, oh, yeah, right after you magically tell us that you were a sober driver driving around King Road at 4 o'clock in the freaking morning. Now you're going to say Xana made a comment to you about how you never go to the house anymore. It's a little bit convenient. During the interview, a second individual could be heard in the background, and she identified herself as Blank with the year of birth of 2003. So there was somebody else like sitting in on this girl's phone interview. Okay. Blank stated she also attended the lodge party and was with Blank. Both Blank and Blank stated there was nothing out of the ordinary throughout the evening or night. When asked questions regarding observing anything unusual, both Blank and Blank were not directly aware of anything. Blank provided phone number Blank for Blank and Blank for Blank stated her phone number was Blank. Based upon responses, both Blank and Blank were referred for a follow-up interview by Victimology. So I think they said the same thing in the last one about somebody going to King Road afterwards. Interesting. Okay. Now we're at number 79, 11/20 of 22, Timothy Snell. This is follow-ups for multiple tips, including 0105 and 0641. Also some additional canvassing for cameras in the area south of King Street, of 1122 King Street. They just left this person's whole ass name, city, name. Oh, wait, this is a cop. I guess that's probably why. Huh. Okay. Okay, Detective Snell and Cody Herman followed up on tip 0641. I contacted Blank at the Blank to obtain surveillance video from October 16th through October 20th. for an apparent incident that occurred in the area of blank, which is adjacent to the blank. At approximately 14:33 hours, I received an email from blank, which contained a link to download the video she uploaded to a shared folder. At approximately 17:23 hours, I forwarded the email and link to blank to download the video content and retain for evidence. At approximately 1500 hours, ISP Sergeant Jess Stinnett, Detective Herman, and I were assigned to complete canvassing for cameras in the residual neighborhood located south of 1122 King Street residence. We were unsuccessful in locating any video appearing to be relevant to the homicide. The following areas were covered: addresses between 342 through 1830 Victoria Drive. We reviewed video at blank. However, there was no video content on November 12th or November 13th, 2022. Blank had a camera facing the roadway. However, after later speaking with homeowner blank, the camera battery had died and was not recording. Convenient. Always have backup batteries so that whenever it needs to charge, you already have one ready to go, and it takes 2 seconds. Addresses between 1752 through 1933 Fletcher Place. Blank had what appeared to be multiple cameras. However, after speaking with the homeowner, we learned that they were non-functioning cameras used to... God. And now every freaking criminal in Idaho knows that there is a house over here on this street that has fake ass cameras. God. Address is between 1623 through 1956 Sunnyside Avenue. Video was reviewed at blank and blank with no video content of relevance. Address is between 1875 through 1978 Anderson Place. Video was reviewed at blank with no video content of relevance. At approximately 1800 hours, ISP Sergeant Jess Stinnett and I left a voicemail for Trooper Keeley in reference to tip 0105. Okay, that's who the person is, who wanted to provide information regarding the homicide investigation. On November 20th, at approximately 11:43 hours, Detective Andy Holdle and I contacted Blank by telephone to set up an interview. The phone call was recorded. Blank eventually answered and agreed to call back later to arrange a time for an interview. At approximately 12:16 hours, Detective Holdle and I contacted Blank by telephone to follow up on information he wanted to provide investigators. The phone call was recorded. Ooh, that doesn't happen often. The tip was regarding a light-colored four-door sedan he had an interaction with on November 11th, 2022. Blank described the driver of the sedan as being a white male wearing a long beanie that covered his hair. Blank said the unknown male confronted him in an unprofessional manner about throwing his trash into a dumpster that belonged to the neighboring apartment complex. Blank said the unknown male stated he was the blank for the blank. For full details on the phone interview, refer to the audio recording. Probably something to do with the fraternity. And he was telling that dude to use his own damn trash can. On November 25th, 2022, Trooper Keeley returned my message and contacted me. Well, if somebody's returning your message, that means they're contacting you. Okay. Trooper Keeley, who works for the Wyoming Highway Patrol, provided me information on a subject named Blank with a year of birth 1982. Trooper Keeley emailed me a brief description of his encounter with Blank and his vehicle information. Ooh, what's that? On November 28th, 2022, I requested ISP Regional Communications Center check Blank with Washington registration blank through the license plate reader database. I forwarded the emailed information I received to ISP Detective Gideon Roberts. Interesting that they ran that plate because they were told, like, don't basically run anything through anything. We don't want nothing out there for nobody. Well, that was Pullman anyway. All media and recordings were turned over to Moscow. Yeah, like literally almost all of them. Literally almost all of them. Isn't that insane? Isn't that wild? Okay, supplement 80. Gideon Roberts. This was on the date, 11/13/22. Okay, so at about 5:40 p.m., this person assisted with the processing of the homicides and was assigned by Jeff Talbot to photograph the scene. I wish they wouldn't keep going backwards, but it's going by approval date. See how this is January 10th, 2023? I gave them credit for a while about being in chronological order, but then they started really just kind of like flip-flopping. So this is going all the way back to the day of. On November 13th, 2022, at about 5:40 p.m., I assisted with the processing of a quadruple homicide scene located at 1122 King Street, Moscow, Idaho. I was assigned by Detective Talbot to photograph the scene. While photographing the scene, I deleted photos that were completely washed out, expecting the deleted photo's serial number to be reassigned to the next photo captured, and the photo serial numbers to continue in sequential order. Later, as I was completing the photo log, I discovered that each photo I deleted also deleted the associated serial number instead of reassigning it, causing a gap in the sequential order, i.e. 4639 goes to 4641. Okay, that's just beautiful. I completed the photo log and included it in the case file. The photos were transferred. Well, this is just an example. So how many were deleted? I guess we'd have to see the full-on thing. Yeah, it is pretty convenient that they're like, that's what they're trying to claim, that it's whitewashed photos. Because then we don't really know literally at all. Because it already looks weird, right? Because like there's some of the ISP photos we've sort of like skimmed through. There's a lot more in here, but we've like a couple of them that we looked through. And as they've got the placard on the like top of the Chester drawer thing, or it looks like vanity thing, certain people, like they've taken like several photos of the spot with the placard, but then like stuff is moved in different places in all of them, and you're not supposed to move shit. And you're not supposed to move a damn thing. You breathe a little bit too hard and move it out the way. You better grab a little Q-tip and move it back a little centimeter. Don't move a damn thing. And almost every time there's a different shot with this placard in it, all the little items are in different locations. So no, this doesn't feel good. That doesn't feel good at all. Man, I swear, there's always like something that makes you ask a bunch of questions. Okay, now we're back to Leslie Lehman. This is on 11/19 of 22. There's a phone interview being conducted that is linked to tip number 0580. Blank member blank was identified by blank as a close friend of Ethan Chapin. I conducted a phone interview with blank on November 19th, 2022. 21-year-old white male, lots of acquaintances. Okay. Blank was located at home in Tri-Cities, Washington when I called him. I asked blank about the blank party the night of November 12th, 2022. Blank confirmed there was a party at the blank house and there was a guest list for the party. Blank said there was a ratio of 2 guests allowed for every blank member. Blank explained the security measures the fraternity uses to avoid people being able to sneak into the party. The blank is the area in the fraternity house where events are held. Blank said the party went from 9:30 p.m. until 1 a.m. and he said the party went well. Blank said he has spoken to members of the fraternity who saw Ethan and Xana at the party. Blank believes blank was the last person to see Ethan and Xana at the blank house. This wouldn't be Hunter Chapin because this right here is too big. So we know that they said that they were both in his like room or whatever, but we don't really know who was like the last one to see them besides David Barriocha. I guess that could be him. I bet you this is David Barriocha. This looks about the right length for that. Okay. Blank recalled speaking to Blake about Xana having never been to blank neighboring fraternity. Okay. Blank planned to take Xana to visit the neighboring fraternity at the conclusion of the blank party, but Xana and Ethan did not make it. Well, that's a weird way to put that. So the plan, see, okay, this is another thing that's important if this is true, because when the girls left the corner club, they did not leave the corner club apparently with the intention of going to get food at the grub truck. All kinds of people have said that their plan was to go to another bar named John's Alley. So now we have this person coming in and claiming the plan for after the party was to take Xana to go and meet the guys at this fraternity next door. That in itself just seems a bit odd. I'll say that. I don't see why you've got to take a girl to go and meet the neighboring fraternity. Why aren't you taking like Ethan? Why isn't Ethan the one that you're like trying to bring over there? Why are you introducing? You know what? I don't freaking know. I just know it sounds kind of freaking weird. But that was apparently the plan here, was to take them over to this other fraternity and meet all these guys, not for them to start like by going home. And now they're trying to say, but they didn't make it to this other fraternity house. How do we know that? Because now this is the first time that we're even hearing that this is like a deviation of what we've been hearing all along, which we still have no actual proof for anything when it comes to Ethan and Xana. To this day, we don't know when they actually walked in those doors. If they walked in those doors. We don't know. But this is interesting. This portion right here. Super interesting. Blank was at the blank party, but did not remember seeing Ethan and Xana. Blank said house members who remembered seeing Ethan and Xana also included Blank, who may have had phone contact with Ethan at 1:30 a.m. Blank confirmed there was no surveillance video in the Blank house. Blank said personal videos taken in the house are not supposed to be posted on the internet. See, that's another thing. Okay. Blank confirmed the blank of the blank is blank, and he would also have a copy of the list of those in attendance at the party on November 12, 2022. Blank said Ethan on Snapchat and had Ethan on Snapchat and said many other fraternity brothers would have his Snapchat. Blank said Ethan's closest friends in the fraternity would be all these names. Blank believed the blank party was the last party of the night at the campus. There may have been after parties at different fraternities or at the blank. Blank last saw Ethan and Xana at the blank on November 11th, 2022, and remembered having a conversation with Xana. Xana has never spoken to Blank about anything that was troubling her or having issues with people at her apartment. Blank has never interacted with Kaylee or Maddie and believed the people he has listed would have known them because of their friendships with Ethan and Xana. Xana would bring her housemate Blank with her to hang out at Blank. Blank did not remember ever meeting Xana's housemate Blank. Well, this could literally only these could literally only be two names because the rest of the housemates are gone and are very much not redacted. So there's that. At 11:22 hours, I conducted a phone interview with Blank at Blank. ISP trooper Kristen Noah was present for the interview. Blank was with Ethan and Xana at the Blank party, which ended at 1 o'clock. See, again, there's that 1 o'clock. There's that 1 o'clock. The way this timeline keeps shifting is insane. Okay, which ended at 1 o'clock on November 13th, 2022. Following the end of the party, Ethan and Xana went to Blank. Okay, so now they're saying that they did? Oh my God. Oh my God. More information. More information. Okay. Let me read this whole thing through and then we'll backtrack. Okay. Following the end of the party, Ethan and Xana went to Blank. Blank number in the Blank house. After Ethan and Xana gathered some items in Blank, the group, including Blank's girlfriend, Blank, returned to Blank within the Blank house. Blank believed the couple packed a couple of beers and Ethan's black dress jacket, possibly into a bag carried by Xana. This was the last time Blank saw Ethan and Xana. Ethan and Xana did not tell Blank where they were going to go after leaving. Blank only assumed that Ethan and Xana left on foot and returned to 1122 King Street. Okay, so this just basically actually reiterates what they already said about how after the party, they actually went up to his brother's room for a while. Okay, so then they just grabbed a couple of things out of his brother's room to get ready to go, and they don't really know anything about after that. But there was talk about them going to this other fraternity house, and it just didn't end up happening. Blank said he and a group went over to Blank following the Blank party, but he did not see Ethan and Xana at Blank. So there is a possibility that there really was another party that was had after this frat party, but there's also a possibility that something could have actually happened at the Hunga Dunga thing because it only lasted for like an hour, and apparently Maisie was super upset the rest of the night, according to these newer reports. So now we've got two other places besides the Sigma Chi crazy stuff that something could have happened, because Jeff is not denying there was something spoken to him from Xana that night that bothered him. He said it again during the sentencing. We're still missing a lot of details here. Blank said he and Ethan attended a formal at blank prior to the blank party. Blank said the theme at the blank party was sports oriented, but Blank could not recall exactly what Ethan and Xana were wearing during the parties. He had on a suit. If this is about the Hunga Dunga thing, Ethan had on a suit. Okay. Blank had a photo of Ethan at the formal party, but did not have any other photos of the evening. Blank interacted with Ethan almost every day, as both were in Blank and close friends. Blank said Ethan did not have any enemies and did not have any problems with anyone. Blank said the same about Xana regarding her being a happy person without enemies. Blank has known Xana since his freshman year. Blank said Blank could not speak to issues with Xana's security around the area of her or her apartment. Blank felt Ethan would spend the night at Xana's due to the distance to his own apartment and not because she was experiencing security issues at her apartment. Well, that sort of gives us an idea that maybe he didn't have an apartment on campus. Because if it was like close enough, or if it was like in the facility, in the vicinity, then they probably wouldn't make that statement. But we still have no idea where it was. No clue. Honestly, for me, it's newer information. I don't know if people knew about him having his own apartment beforehand or not, but that was newer information to me. I just automatically assumed he was staying with Xana temporarily because we heard from one of the frat guys that he was going to be moving back in within like a month. Right before everything happened, he had been talking to them and was like super excited to be moving back in within the month. So I didn't even know that they got him another place. I literally just thought he was crashing with her for a couple months. No big deal. Okay. Blank has met Kaylee and Maddie, but did not know them well. Blank said the same for Blank and Blank. Blank was last at 1122 King Street address on the Friday prior to the homicides. He spent 15 to 20 minutes there playing Pong, then went to the Blank. Blank emailed me the Blank party attendance list and a timeline he had established regarding the night of November 12, 2022, and the interaction with Ethan and Xana and the Blank members. Okay. The documents were forwarded to ISP Detective Ryan O'Hara for further investigation. Audio of the interviews conducted, the emails exchanged with Blank, and the screenshots of the text messages exchanged with Blank have been saved to a disk and will be given to Moscow as an attachment to this supplement. Okay. We're at number 82. This is the one that we've been waiting to get to after what I've got something to say said. Thanks for joining. Thanks for joining, Deanne. Thank you for joining. We're going to be having a members only live on August the 25th, and we're going to be giving away either a hat, a coffee cup, or a t-shirt. Hey, Ashley, how you doing? Hey, you. Hey, how you doing? Okay, here we're going to go. Let's see if this one says what we're being told it says. Okay. This was written by Timothy Snell, and this is an interview that was had with somebody with the year of birth, 1979, that took place at the Kootenai County Jail. This is a relation to Xana, and the person is 43 at the time. So, yeah, I would say this is most likely Kara. I would say that this is most likely Kara. What's going on? The link doesn't do anything. What link? What's going on? What is happening? I don't see the rest of the comments. Am I missing something? Oh. Oh, you need the link for that? Okay. It's different if you have an iPhone. Okay. I'll put these in here. This is the one for like if you're on a computer or like a Google thingy. For some reason it's different. I don't know. But this is the one that if you have an iPhone, you have to use this one. I don't know why. So I don't know if this is what the issue is or not, but those are the two that I have for you. So I don't know. I don't know what else is going on with it. YouTube does stupid stuff all the time. It's really hard to like keep up with whatever they're trying to do. Okay. Yeah, this sounds like it's definitely Kara. This shows that Timothy Snell with ISP and ISP Sergeant Jess Stinnett conducted this interview. Okay. Let's see what this says. Okay. This was done at the jail. I was advised blank had been recently arrested for all of this due to having a blank. I was advised by blank during her blank that she had made statements regarding the homicides of blank, Xana Kernodle, and blank. I'm sure this probably says of her daughter right before it says Xana's name. Okie dokie. Upon arrival, blank was blank with Sergeant Stinnett and I. Upon explaining why we were there, blank began speaking prior to being able to activate the audio recording device. Blank explained her blank made statements to her that Xana Kernodle's death better not be due to blank. Well, that sounds like somebody's trying to put some responsibility on something. Blank last spoke with Xana about a month prior to the homicide when she attempted to coordinate having lunch with her. Blank said Xana ended up being too busy with classes and was not able to meet. That's a fucking lie. That's a fucking lie. I have it in the fucking text messages that Kara is the one that skipped out on Xana. She is the one who ixnayed the meetup. So that's a fucking lie. I'm mad. Ugh. I'm not happy right now. Those of you who don't know, I've spoken to Kara plenty of times. I don't even know how many messages between me and her. I know the truth about this situation. She told me herself. I cannot believe. Yeah, no, I'm mad. I cannot believe that she just fucking lied. And I'm sorry, I don't usually cuss at all, but holy damn, am I pissed off. This is wild. She told me herself she's the one who flaked on Xana. Okay. Blank said she was unaware of anyone who would want to hurt Xana. Blank said blank questioned her, inquiring if she had any blank and if Xana could have been killed as blank. Blank told us she has never been involved with blank. Blank said blank hated Xana and stated we should look at her. What? Never once have you ever told me a damn thing about somebody that you swore hated your child. So I'd love to know what that is. Jesus Christ. Gotta love when they find religion and forget everything, right? Okay. Supplement 83. Gideon Roberts This was, damn, we jumped like way ahead. This is now January 5th, 2023. On January 5th, 2023, at about 1:57 p.m., ISP detective, again, I want to know how this is possible. I need to know how you can work for ISP and be a Fed at the same time. That is wild. Roberts Gideon served a search warrant on the person of Bryan Christopher Kohberger at the Latah County Jail. Kohberger has finally entered the chat. Finally. We just skipped so much. Did you guys realize that? We went from 11/20 of 22 to January 5th. No, I have no want to speak to her. Why? Why would I want to speak to her about this? What's the point? It's right here in black and white, and I've got the messages in black and white. What is there to speak about? I have no want to speak about that with her at all, because I'm going to go off. And I'd rather not. I'd rather not. What I have to say was just said. What else I got to say? It's just really dumb. No, that's sort of what it sounds like, doesn't it? Yeah, I don't understand what they're doing with this. Why they chronologically screwed all these up. So let's see what they're saying, because now they've passed everything. They've passed. Where's the stuff about the DNA? Where's the stuff about the knife sheath DNA and the family tree? That's what's missing in all this. So hopefully it like shows up afterwards, and like, it was just because like reports were like approved later on. But we need to remember that while Othram was working on whatever Othram was working on, and the feds were working on whatever they were working on after Othram, ISP already said they were doing their own genealogical tree. So there was Othrams, there was whatever the feds ended up sending over, and then there was ISPs. And they haven't put anything in here about any of that yet. So let's go ahead and get with this and see what this says. But there's a lot in here missing so far. There's a lot in here missing so far. Oh, thanks for the $3, Danny. I didn't even see that. Thank you so much. Oh, I very much appreciate it. Thanks for the 5, Christian. The way Gideon is both FBI and ISP is because he's on the task force. He's ISP with FBI clearance. See, that part makes sense. That makes sense. Being ISP with FBI clearance makes sense. That makes sense. Okay. Yeah, there's a lot missing in between that and that. So that's crazy. Okay, let's just go ahead and read it how it comes. On January 5th, 2023, at about 1:57 p.m., ISP detective and Federal Bureau Investigation Task Force officer Gideon Roberts served a search warrant on the person of Bryan Christopher Kohberger at the Latah County Jail, and that's the address. The warrant was signed by Idaho Magistrate Judge Megan Marshall, commanding the collection of prints, hair, swabs, and photographs. Why do they have to put photos? Photographs. We know what it means. The search warrant was part of the ongoing quadruple homicide investigation. So now we have just him. Okay. Then we have this. Okay, right here. At about 1:57 p.m., I served a search warrant on Kohberger at the Latah County Jail. Also present at the time of service was Kohberger's attorney, Ann Taylor, and her associates, Mick McCarthy and Jay Logsden. Latah County Sheriff's Deputy Aston, Latah County Sheriff's Deputy Southern, ISP Forensic Laboratory Scientist Tara Martinez, ISP Forensic Laboratory Scientist Haley Youngling, and FBI Special Agent Travis Shirley. Damn. They had lots of people in there. Lots of people in there. Okay. After introducing myself to Kohberger, I advised him of the search warrant and providing his attorney a copy of the search warrant. Martinez and Youngling began collecting the evidence as prescribed in the warrant. Kohberger was compliant through the process. At about 2:58, Martinez and Youngling completed the evidence collection. Kohberger was returned to his cell while his attorney observed the final packaging of the collected evidence. On January 6, 2023, I transferred the audio recording and the photos onto compact disc, processed them into MPD's evidence, and transferred them to MPD evidence technician Tim Smaldridge. I also provided Kohberger's attorney a copy of the evidence collection log via email. On January 9th, 2023, I provided the evidence collection log and original to MPD Detective Brett Payne, who returned the warrant. Okay. Now we have Supplement 84, and we're going backwards to 11/18/22 because this report was approved on 2/6 of 23. Here we go. Here we go with the back and forth. Okay. On November 18th, 2022, Detective Leslie Lehman received an email from blank of the blank, Moscow, Idaho. Blank provided a Dropbox link to video surveillance footage he preserved during the evening hours of November 12, 2022 into November 13th of 2022. The video link was forwarded to blank for review. Okay, that's the same sentence saying, okay, I preserved the video from the Dropbox and placed the media on a disk. The disk and the email will be given to Moscow Police Department as an attachment to this supplement. And that's it. Okay, that's it. Now we have 85. And we're at 11/19 of 22. Leslie Lehman, again, and Trooper Kristen Noah met with blank, owner of blank, Moscow, Idaho, at the Moscow Police Department. Blank reviewed her video surveillance footage from November 13th, 2022, and realized victims Kaylee and Maddie were captured in her camera footage. Blank allowed me to retrieve the video by granting me access to her cloud account. I preserved the video into my state-issued cell phone. Okay. Using a cell phone application, blank and I guess it is probably what it says. Or maybe it's like the application that they use, whatever app it was. I viewed the video surveillance footage. I was unable to preserve the footage directly from the application, so I made several screen recordings as the footage played on my phone. Blank camera is motion activated and records audio. Notably, Goncalves and Mogen walk past the camera with blank at 1:40:50 hours on 11/13/22. This must be with Jack. This is them walking with Jack. Is this the footage of What Did You Tell Adam? Because I could have sworn no, it was the grub truck footage. I keep getting those two confused. Okay, so yeah, okay. Okay, never mind what I just said. The video recordings and screenshots I captured of individuals passing the camera were provided to the Moscow Police Department group reviewing the video footage of the area. Additionally, a disc of the footage and screenshots have been saved to discs and will be provided to Moscow Police Department as an attachment to this supplement. No, so that's what I was about to say. But that's not accurate. No, hold on. Let me backtrack. Oh, it's so freaking confusing. Okay, which one did it say that the church guy owned? Okay, this might be the Adam video. I keep going back to the church guy because he like owns a bunch of businesses where a lot of the video was given over, and he kind of like used it as a like leverage or whatever, I guess, during a meeting he had with them. But it wasn't I don't think it was the What Did You Tell Adam footage. I think that it was the grub truck footage, like that wasn't from them. Like it was like from the businesses in the area surrounding. So it wasn't the Twitch feed. It was like other cameras. I think that's what the Christ Church guy said he had. So this must be the Adam stuff. This must be the Adam stuff. Yeah, I think it had to have been. I could have sworn it wasn't it a bank? I think it was a bank. See, I wish they wouldn't. Like the addresses, I really wish they would like leave them on there to where it at least could like make it make more sense. That might be, or it might be footage we haven't seen. Because if they were having a conversation the whole way to the grub truck, then I'm pretty sure that they're caught on camera more than just that one time. So I guess it could be, or it could be something else that we just haven't seen yet. It could be. Okay. So number 86, we have from 11/15 of 22, it's Jacob Schwecke. On November 15th, 2022, ISP Detective Hugh Powell and ISP Detective Jacob Schwecke conducted an interview with blank at the Moscow Police Department. This is a potential witness in a homicide case, not the homicide case, but a homicide case. That's interesting. Okay. This is a 33-year-old male. Okay. He left his apartment at approximately 8 p.m. on November 12, 2022, with a female friend named Blank. They went to Mingles, a bar in Moscow, ended up meeting another female friend there, and the three of them left for Corner Club between approximately midnight and 1 a.m. At the Corner Club, he really noticed a girl who couldn't stand, was touching everyone, and he stated, "I thought she was on something. So I was like, this chick is just your classic, like, college girl that took a pill and didn't know what it was or something, you know." The female was later identified as Maddie. Okay. Blank and another male left Corner Club at approximately closing time and went to the Grub Truck, a food truck located in Moscow, Idaho. After they got to the Grub Truck, he noticed Mogen arrive with another female who was later identified as Kaylee Goncalves. Mogen appeared extremely intoxicated to the point she was falling against the Grub Truck repeatedly. He noticed a male standing near Mogen and Goncalves and believed he was there with them. The male was later identified as, this is Jack Showalter. He had a conversation with Blank at the Grub Truck. Blank said he was there to just make sure the girls got home safe. Blank asked him how he felt about being recorded and then pointed out the live stream recording on the Grub Truck. They continued talking about inconsequential topics like cars, the weather, how their night was going, etc. Small talk. It seemed like Blank knew a group of fraternity guys who were waiting at the Grub Truck. Mogen and Goncalves were whispering to each other, looking at Blank and giggling. He thought Blank was in the friend zone when describing the dynamic between the three. He felt like Blank was annoyed with the girls, saying he kept shaking his head at them, taking deep breaths and sighing. What the frick? What does that mean? Okay. A blue... Okay, see? What the frick is this? This is the second time, bro. This is why people think that Ethan and Xana picked them up right here. So I want to know if they actually, like, have this footage somewhere, because this is crazy. A blue car, possibly a Honda, eventually pulled up near the Grub Truck, and he saw Mogen and Goncalves get into it and leave. He was unaware of Blank location or actions until he reviewed the recorded live stream footage later, but had initially thought he left with them in the car. So the dude was maybe just like too drunk to even honestly know. But this is the second time that we've seen something that references that. The other one literally said that they thought it was Ethan and Xana. This one has the description of Xana's little, like, blue car. Yeah. Isn't this wild? See why we need the footage? Because the Grub Truck doesn't show us the car. Like, there's, like, a reflection that people can sort of see of, like, whenever the car pulls up from what people believe could be that car. But we also have Olivia Goncalves claiming that they logged into, like, the phone thing, like the phone account, because they're all on a family account. And she saw the conversation between Kaylee and Eric Gower. That's how she knew about the Grub Truck stuff and all the other things. So this secondary is speaking about another car again. Okay. Now we have supplement number 87. This is from 12/19 of 22, so we're jumping forward a bunch again. Okay, so this is about a purchase made by Kaylee, located at blank and blank in the city of Moscow on 10/22 of 22. Okay. I conducted interviews with manager blank and server blank. Goncalves purchased 2 alcoholic beverages for $11.75 while in the company of 6 to 7 other females. So why are we getting anything from here? Okay. On Monday, December 19th, 2022, I conducted follow-up on a purchase made by Goncalves at the blank in the city of Moscow on 10/22 of 22. I conducted interviews with manager blank and server blank. Blank texted me 2 photos of receipts from Goncalves' purchase of 2 alcoholic beverages for $11.75. Goncalves arrived at blank between 8 and 8:30, along with 6 to 7 other females presumed to be blank. The women all ordered the same drink for their first round, a blue Hawaii. Is it blue Hawaii or blue Hawaiian? Pretty sure it's Hawaiian. The women were dressed nicely with good demeanors and were coming from or going to an event. Some women purchased a second drink. Goncalves did, and each woman paid separately. Goncalves and the women left shortly after consuming their drinks. What is the point of this? Why does this matter? Okay, but what does this matter? It is okay. It is blue Hawaii. All right. I don't understand why this matters. I guess this would have been like not long before she would have went back to her parents for a couple weeks. But what does this matter? They're not saying why this matters. Like, did something creepy happen at the bar with somebody? Like, why are we talking about something that happened a month prior? That just seems normal. I mean, maybe, but like, what's the point of this? Okay. Supplement number 88. This is written by Joseph Lake from 11/19 of 22. Joe Lake conducted a search as part of the lawfully obtained search warrant for 1122 King Road of Blank's bedroom. So this has to be like one of the survivors, right? One of the survivors' roommates, like one of their bedrooms, because they have the name completely blocked off. But why is it so long? FBI tactical specialist Kara Hadaway and other members of the investigation team were present. I collected photographs of the bedroom and identified items that were seized by the crime scene lead, Jeff Talbot. "19-year-old white female. Photos. I searched Blank's bedroom with Hadaway while other members of the investigation team, including crime scene lead ISP Detective Talbot, were present. Blank's bedroom is the blank located room within the residence. During the time of the quadruple murder, Blank reported she witnessed the murder suspect, later identified as Bryan C. Kohberger, at close proximity while she stood in her bedroom doorway. So it is Dylan's. ISP forensic scientist had identified a bloody shoe print outside of Blank's bedroom, believed to belong to Kohberger. Upon entering Blank's room, I photographed the bedroom with an emphasis upon her wall hangings and artwork. While conducting a search of her bedroom, the following items were noted and seized. See ISP Detective Talbot's evidence forms for seized items. The bedroom had a low amount of alcohol compared to other first and second level bedrooms within the residence. There was a myriad of personal items, notebooks, and textbooks consistent with a college student. Artwork of Blank, with an emphasis upon the blank, were pinned to cork boards along with blanks from magazines. This is the stuff that we heard about already, so I don't know why. So the only reason that they're redacting this shit is because it's about puffy eyebrows and big eyeballs. It's about big eyes, singular eyes, and big puffy eyebrows, and little drawings of people with big eyes and eyebrows being pinned with pins to a cork board. That's what this is. Why are they redacting this? This is pathetically too protective. Why are they redacting this? This is disgusting. This is stupid. A letter from Blank sorority, blank, later confirmed to be Blank, was in a clear plastic shoebox in the bedroom closet. A blank was located on the vanity within the bedroom. A sorority blank was located in a black backpack, which was under the bed. I concluded the bedroom search at approximately 3:50 p.m. See that black backpack thing? I'm really starting to wonder, and I think I mentioned this in a live maybe last week. I'm really starting to wonder if those black backpacks were sorority given, because they're like the little cheapy JanSports from what it looks like, right? And I think Steve has used the fact that in like the official documentation, there's a mention of a black backpack in like random places, right? There was apparently one in the backyard, according to Captain Lanier. Then there was one at either the top of the 3rd floor steps or the 2nd floor steps. I just don't know if that one is the same one that's in the living room because of the way that the MPD report from Payne puts it. It's hard to like tell. So I have to go back and read that one. But I do know that whenever, I believe it was Emily was walking up the steps after Hunter Johnson, that she said there was a knife on the floor at the top of the stairs. But she could also be meaning that it was on the table at the top of the 1st floor stairs that lead up to the 2nd floor. And the wording in the report is just hella off. But there's a backpack in the living room. There's a backpack outside. I noticed the black backpack. I think I'm pretty positive I'm seeing it in my head whenever they put Dylan's pictures of her bedroom up. There was a black backpack underneath her bed that you could see it. So I'm really wondering if instead of little kill kits like people want to believe these are, if these were just the girls' backpacks because they were like sorority issued and they probably had like some sort of like kit or something in it, you know, like makeup and lotions and stuff, because they all do stuff like that. Some sort of grab bag thing. I've really wondered that. I've wondered that. So I don't know. I don't know if they're related to it or if it was just every girl in that house had one of those and they just randomly used them for things. Because they're all the same. Like they're literally all the same little cheapy ass basic backpack. I guess maybe we'll find out more. I concluded the bedroom search at approximately 3:50 p.m. Okay, now we're at number 89. It's the same person. On November 16th, 2022, Joe Lake was assigned by ISP Detective Sergeant Darren Gilbertson to lead the Victimology team for the November 13th, 2022 Moscow Latah County, Idaho quadruple murder investigation. The Victimology team consisted of me, FBI Special Agent Jonathan Riggs, FBI Special Agent Jared Thompson, Tactical Specialist Carrie Hadaway, and ISP detectives and nationwide FBI agents for out-of-area interviews. The Victimology teams was responsible for understanding relationships, social groups, public lives, and private lives of the victims and survivors and the connections to the suspect or suspects. On January 3rd, 2023, ISP Detective Sergeant Gilbertson assigned me the additional investigative duty of coordinating the priority of investigation tips related to suspect Bryan C. Kohberger. The coordination of tips includes prioritizing interviews of people associated to Kohberger. Now, considering what their job is, take into account what we heard Dollinger say in the little video that we watched right before starting these documents, that they dug and they dug and they dug and they dug and they didn't find one. So while I'm expecting for there to be something coming out in these documents, not in way of there being any sort of connection, but details of things that they found, I'm not expecting to find anything that links him to them in any way. Let's just keep that part in mind here. And that's it. That's all it does. He got assigned to this. Okay, he got assigned to this. That's all it does. Okay. So now we're going to go to 90. Gary Tolleson wrote this one. And it's from 1/9/23. So we've sort of jumped a little. And now we are at January 9th, 2023. This is Gary Tolleson along with Detective Sean Prosser interviewed a 43-year-old. Is this Kara? Maybe not, because this is somebody that knew Kohberger. Oh, wow. They called him Bryan Kohberger. Okay. They're just the same age. All right. The interview was conducted on in the blank room. This was obviously took place at the WSU campus. I'm pretty positive. The interview was recorded with Blank's knowledge and permission. Okay. Blank told us that he had contact with Bryan Kohberger because Kohberger was a student seeking a criminal justice doctorate at Blank. They had met several times to discuss requirements for Kohberger's doctorate studies. They also met twice in social settings, once at a barbecue for new students and a holiday Christmas event at the college. Blank described Kohberger as socially awkward around people. He did not see any other behavior that he thought was odd, but did tell us that Kohberger was removed from Blank because of his rudeness and unprofessional behavior towards other students and college professors. Removed from what? Why is it redacted? Why is it redacted? Blank suggested we speak to Blank about complaints others had brought against Kohberger. Blank is the blank. See supplement number 91. Well, that'll be after. All the blanks. I don't understand it. I transferred the recorded interview to a compact disc and turned this disc over to MPD. I misquoted the date on the interview in the recording. I said December 9th, 2023, when in fact it was January 9th, 2023. Yeah, getting that date accurate would probably be really good. Okay. Jesus Christ. Okay, so now we're going to go into 91. Okay, this is the additional information. This is Sean Prosser, 1/9 of 23. So this is a woman being interviewed with her connection and interactions with Bryan Kohberger, and it took place at the blank blank in Pullman, which is probably the WSU campus. Okay, 43-year-old white female. On January 9th, 2023, at 14:05 hours, Detective Sean Prosser, along with Gary Tollison, interviewed Blank in connection with her knowledge and interactions with Bryan Kohberger. The interview took place at the Blank it was at the school because there's a room number in Pullman. Also present during the interview was Washington State Assistant Attorney General Adam Malcolm. Whoa, buddy. Prior to the start of the interview, Blank confirmed she was happy for the interview to be recorded. This recording was subsequently downloaded to a CD and provided to the Moscow Police Department evidence section. Blank is employed blank. She had held this position for approximately blank. During the normal course of her duties, she regularly interacted with Kohberger. This occurred during new student course orientation, course functions, and other course-related activities. Additionally, Kohberger was present at blank during an early semester student meet and greet barbecue. I love how they just still to this day won't give us any actual details, even when it comes to their so-say suspect person. Blank position also requires she interacts with students to discuss course options and any issues students might have. This includes student interactions with faculty members and other students. As a result, she is a repository for complaints made by students. She described her initial interactions with Kohberger as ordinary, noting he came across as lonely. Blank is also from Kohberger's home state of Pennsylvania, and Kohberger would strike up conversations about hiking in the local area. As weeks progressed, Kohberger would hang out in the hallways of the Blank and her office. Blank described Kohberger as creepy, and he would simply stand at her desk and stare at her or her coworker Blank, at one stage blocking the coworker in her desk area. He would also follow them out to their cars at the end of the day. His continued behavior resulted Blank arranging Blank to meet at 1700 hours after work to escort him to their cars. See, this is the part that I don't understand. If all of this was really going on, then how come no one ever said a word until after this dude was arrested about his behavior? To the police or anything. This is a lot. If this is true, where he was just standing there and staring, I just don't know how accurate that is. I'm not saying that people aren't being honest, but this is really strange to just stand there and just block people from doing anything. That would immediately been I'm about to throat chop you, bro. Get out of my face. And if you're having to make arrangements to be escorted to your car because of a coworker, why weren't the cops brought in? The cops should have been brought in if this was the case, because that's wild. Blank said complaints from faculty members, administration staff, and other students was referred to the Blank. These complaints referenced his rude and belittling behavior towards women and his unprofessional rude dealings with his Blanks. This resulted in a mandatory training class for all graduate students regarding behavior expectations. She said during Kohberger's attendance at this class, he sat at the back with his hands behind his head staring at the ceiling. Blank said in total, 9 complaints had been filed against Kohberger. Refer to the recording for greater detail. During the recording, the date noted was incorrectly. Okay, they already said that. See, I have issues with this right here. Not what I just highlighted, but what we're talking about. Because we had people that came out and did interviews about this kind of stuff. There were men that came out and said he graded me like crap. He hated everything I wrote. He was so rude to me, blah, 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 blah. But then there were men that came out and said, I didn't have this problem. He was great to work with. He put great notes on my stuff. He was eager to help, right? Then we had women, exact same thing. We had some people that still have never shown their faces, but have like talked in the background, claiming that he was this horrible person that was grading them harshly, that was sexist and all these things. But then we have women that come out and be like, I never had that issue. He didn't act like that towards me. He appreciated the work that I put in. He put great notes on my papers about how much he appreciated the work and how much he thought that I was enjoying this coursework. Like it was, I personally, from what we've seen people physically come out and speak on, it doesn't feel like it was like sexist or anything on that level. It seems like he was expecting both men and women to be at a certain level for the programs that they were in, and he was just like holding a high standard. Plus, he was autistic. And if you know anything about people with autism, they are very straight to the point. They don't sugarcoat shit. If they feel like you're a certain type of way, they're not going to hide that emotion from you. You're going to know directly what they think of you by what comes out of their face because they don't have filters. Okay? So, considering that, and the fact that he had to be trespassed, the fact that they had to get him to sign over all these things, and the fact that in the court paperwork, we are now hearing that even though there was an investigation into all these things, he was found to be guilty of no wrongdoings. What was the true ending to all of this? Where's all of the paperwork and the reports? Like, if this is really the situation, then why are they hiding all of this stuff? Like, I get that there's reports from people and people are coming out with stories. But again, none of these people turned him in. None of these people were like, bro, this dude is like hella creepy. He drives that kind of car. I've been in this car. Because there's this one guy that's like been given rides by him that comes out and puts his face on a camera doing all of this stuff. Homeboy, how creepy did you think he was for you to put yourself in his vehicle? Not knowing what he could do to you, where he could take you, any of the things. You have all this crazy shit to talk now, but you put yourself in that situation? Then we find out that the whole burglary thing that apparently happened, that they tried to say that he orchestrated in order for this girl to somehow, he was just going to miraculously know that she was going to ask him to help with these security cameras. That was never even reported. Chief Jenkins came out and said, yeah, I have no idea. She never reported that to the campus police or anything. So we have no idea about any of that. See why this is like really hard to, it's really hard to believe their narrative whenever you've already seen everything that's come out about stuff so far. Because it just doesn't track to me. Like, it looks like they're trying to push it to be one thing, but then you know all the other stories and all the other things about what the people that were apparently actually in these situations have come out and said and when, along with other details. And it's hard to follow the narrative that they're trying to lay down. Like, if he didn't have diagnosed autism, if he didn't have like all these actual things since childhood and all these actual problems, then you couldn't really like make all these excuses. But you have to consider exactly what he is personality wise because of his diagnosis when it comes to how these people might be getting their little feelings hurt. Because you also need to remember, this is the day and age where like participation trophies are for some reason a thing. And this is also at the end of the pandemic starting to slow down, where a lot of people were literally just being handed grades because it was easier because of the situation of the whole planet. And again, we have men and women coming out with stories from both ends. He graded them harshly. He was rude to them, blah, blah, blah. Oh, he was fine. Everything was great. He loved the way that I did work. He seemed to be really knowledgeable and really smart. It was not a problem. You've got that on both ends. You have to consider that. You have to consider that. It's not like we're trying to make bullshit ass excuses. We're looking at the facts and the things that are relevant here. And you know that you have to pay attention to all of it. And again, if those diagnoses weren't there, we couldn't say these things. We couldn't use any of that. We couldn't say, but then there's this. But we have to, because it's there. The state acknowledged that it was there, while also claiming he wasn't a sociopath or a psychopath or whatever they were trying to say. That came out right after sentencing. No, he wasn't crazy. Well, he was autistic. He was super hyper focused and super OCD. I mean, look how red his hands are in that video. He's like rubbing himself to where he can bleed. That's wild. But we're supposed to believe that he went in and did something with a manual weapon that would have gotten the most nasty all over him, with all of his severe issues when it comes to those kinds of things. It just needs to track. It needs to track. It's not working. I'm still waiting. I just need the one piece, and I haven't seen it yet. Okay. On January 9th, 2023, Idaho State Police Captain J. Kempf and ISP Sergeant J. Stinnett conducted a blank interview of blank with date of birth 1995. The interview took place at the blank in Pullman. The interview was in reference to meeting Bryan C. Kohberger, 1994, at a pool party on July 9th, 2022. We've heard a lot about this pool party. I'm glad we're getting more info. Okay, so there he is right here. And then this is a 27-year-old white female. Is this Holly, I wonder? I heard there was something else about Holly in here. I think it is. I just saw the word hiking. Okay. Blank was employed by blank. Blank said she was not associated with Kohberger at WSU. She met Kohberger at a pool party on July 9th, 2022. The pool party occurred at blank, located near the University of Idaho campus. When she met Kohberger, they had a brief conversation about hiking interests in the area. She told Kohberger she had a hiking group she could introduce him to, and the two exchanged phone numbers. She cannot recall if Kohberger was drinking at the pool party. Nothing in particular stood out about him. After the homicides, Blank searched her phone, remembering Kohberger had sent her a text. The text was as follows. Hey, I'm pretty sure we spoke about hiking trips yesterday. I really enjoy that activity, so please let me know. Thanks. Blank believed an individual named Blank invited Kohberger to the pool party. And then that's it. This was her initial report. Nothing about anything else that came out that she said that was negative about anything. This was literally like not a big deal. And notice it says she went to go look for his text the next day. Or like after the situation, she went to go find the text. It doesn't say that they had any sort of like weird interactions. She was probably drinking, didn't really pay much attention to it, didn't even think to text this guy back. He didn't reach out to her, it seems like, because it seems like this is the only text that there was. So there isn't any of this like, oh, he was just really weird, so I just didn't get back with him or any of that stuff. Because remember, she said she handed him her phone. She took her phone, handed it to him. He put his information in her phone. She took her phone back. She then either texted or called him, one of the two things. She did that. She initiated all of that. That way she knew for a fact that like he had her information too. So then it must have been the very next day that he then sent her a text message. And how many times do you get a text and you don't even bother looking at it, responding to it, reading it until like whenever you feel the need to? And if it's not somebody that is like of importance to you, how long does it take for you to finally even realize it's there? There's nothing negative about any of this. It's just, oh, I had a text and completely basically forgot about it. And it was familiar after everything popped up on the news, and here it is. Innocent enough. Normal. Right? Like something must have just not felt horrible. Because if I'm getting like the worst creepy feeling ever from somebody who's just like this hella creepy dude, I'm not going to hand him my damn phone. I'm not going to hand him my device. Are you crazy? Are you crazy? Yeah. So that matters. Like the aura of the moment, not what happens and changes it after the negative starts coming in from the news and what's going on. The original situation, that's all I care about. But it's so hard to get to that once this happens, because it starts to cloud it. But the original stuff is what I want, but we would never even know this story if it wasn't for what happened. So it's hard to know. Hard to know. Okay. We're at 93. So we've got 2 more. I'm going to stop at 95. So I'm pretty sure that's the thing I have on the thing. Is to stop at 95 and then to start at 96 tonight. Unless we get some documents or something else official that happens, tonight's live will continue on with the documents. Still the original, I'll show you all this. The original order from the judge about those like 40 documents or whatever that they wanted the state and the prosecution, that's the same thing, that they wanted the state and the defense to look at is gone still. And the case summary like shows it still here. And it shows we've got responses from them. It's still early. Has this been fixed yet today? No. It's still early enough to where they could still like put it all back up here. But with everything that's going on with the orders to like not let stuff out, they might hold off on this, which is probably why that order's actually gone. So that's the plan for today. Okay. 93, Jess Stinnett. This was on January 9th, 2023 at approximately 2 p.m. Kempf and Stinnett conducted an interview with Blank with year of birth 1991 at the Blank in Pullman. The interview was in reference to Blank's knowledge of Bryan C. Kohberger with date of year of birth 1994. Okay, this is a 31-year-old. Okay, a female. I was trying to figure out who it was. Okay. Blank was a graduate student and Blank working in the Blank program. She was a fellow colleague of Kohberger and had unblank to his an apartment, whatever. She was also working on a project with Kohberger in a limited capacity. The project was part of the Division of Governmental Studies and Services. She had limited interactions with Kohberger while working with the DGSS. One interaction was on a Zoom call. The other was a follow-up question concerning the project. She first met Kohberger August in her office. 2 other graduate students were present. He told her he was from Pennsylvania and he enjoyed hiking. They also spoke about his field of study, offender decision-making. He was particularly interested in how emotion played a role in how offenders make decisions. Throughout the semester, she would routinely discuss criminal justice topics with Kohberger throughout the semester. So you continuously like had the conversations with him like it was something you liked to do. Okay. They discussed the use of alcohol and the effects of Mary Jane on society. He told her he was not a drinker, but did not understand why people drank. I know people are going to make comments about that part right there because of his history. H is definitely not good, but this is still a good stance to have. She said Kohberger really liked to discuss research and he liked to dominate the conversations. She described him standing in the doorway and hovering. She never felt uncomfortable around him. So you can't, the hovering must not have been like an actual hovering then if you never felt uncomfortable. Because I could be like, it could be my kid, it could be a partner, it could be my parent. If you're standing like behind me or like in front of me, standing around me and like hovering, I'm barking at you. Get the frick away from me like that. Sit down or move farther away because I'm not okay with it. I don't know if it's my PTSD or what it is, but hovering is going to cause a knee-jerk reaction out of me, no matter who you are. So for her to say, well, yeah, he'd be hovering in the doorway, but I never felt uncomfortable. I think that's where he would stand and talk to me. Type thing, because she again never felt uncomfortable. He made a macho demeanor about him and would appear to be puffed up. Okay. The only thing she felt was off about Kohberger was his intense stare. Well, him and his sister have the same eyeballs. So there's that. He would intensely stare at people even when he wasn't having a conversation with that person. She described having a conversation with him in her office. She tried to end, but he would not stop talking. She told him she was leaving because she wanted to avoid getting a parking violation. She walked out and he continued to talk to her while she was walking to the car. So so basically he couldn't take the social cue that the conversation needed to end. So he just like walked with you to your vehicle because he didn't get the social cue that you wanted to end the conversation. How very autistic of him. You didn't feel uncomfortable around him. So obviously him walking towards you, like towards your car with you, didn't make you feel uncomfortable. Right? She did not have any relationship with him outside of the school. She could not recall seeing him much after the homicides. She was aware of an issue he had with a blank named Blank. He was perceived by female classmates as dominant and disrespectful to female instructors. At one point, Blank had come into her office crying because of a classroom discussion Kohberger was having with her. His behavior could be described as possibly sexist. He really did not like to be interrupted. Is this the one where he like interrupted somebody that was speaking? I mean, I'm sure that it sounds rude as shit. I'm sure that it's probably like rude, like a rude vibe. I mean, honestly, just because he has autism doesn't really give him an excuse to like be like super a certain way. His parents could have easily like helped with that situation a little bit better. Okay. So I don't know if this was like he's trying to like one up situations because he was like the new guy or what this was. But we also don't know all of the details too. But to make somebody cry is pretty sad. She cannot relate any instances where empathy would have been used during their conversations. She did say he seemed very uptight and serious. He wanted to come off as intelligent. Well, he was. So there is that. Her understanding was Kohberger wanted to continue in academia and possibly become a professor. She did recall one other staff pulled her aside and made her aware of a possible issue with him stalking another member of the staff. An incident took place where he asked out the other staff member and had followed the individual outside to her car. A report was filed with the Office of Civil Rights. The blank he asked out was Blank. So I really would like to know how that conversation went because the other chick didn't care really, like never felt uncomfortable. So I'd like to know how this went. She was shocked the homicides happened. In her hindsight, the homicides may have taken place because he had been rejected by someone. She had no knowledge of Kohberger talking about the homicides. At approximately 2:22 p.m., the interview concluded. For further information, refer to the audio recording of his interview. A copy of his interview was downloaded to a CD. Yeah, there's like a lot here, but not a lot at the same time. All of this is like a lot of hearsay stuff that was going around. But again, all these people that swore he was so creepy. Oh my God, he's stalking. Oh my God, he's got this white car. And oh my God, they never said a damn thing. This is all after his arrest. After his arrest. Okay. Number 94. Jess Stinnett from 1/9/23. Interview conducted with year of birth 2000, referencing her knowledge of Bryan Kohberger, 22-year-old white female. On January 9th at approximately 3:04 p.m., Captain Kempf and ISP Sergeant Stinnett conducted an interview with Blank, reference her knowledge of Bryan C. Kohberger. The interview took place at the Moscow Police Department. Blank contacted the Moscow homicide tip line to report she had observed Kohberger with bloody knuckles. She saw the knuckles just prior to the homicides. The hands looked really beat up, like he was hitting something. So he had injuries to his hands apparently before the homicides, but we've literally only come across one report claiming that they saw something wrong with him afterwards. But if this is somebody claiming that she saw him with injuries prior, then it's very possible and more likely that the person claiming to have seen him with injuries after the fact, that these injuries were actually from prior and that person just probably didn't see him. If this is true. But we do know that he went to that boxing gym when he was younger. So I guess it's possible that maybe he was at another one. Maybe he found one and he had started doing that again. But this being prior is really interesting. She was enrolled as a graduate student with Washington State University in the Blank program. She had Blank with Kohberger. Okay. She did not like Kohberger, and they did not share the same focus of study. Okay, well, instantly We know where you are, like instantly, honestly. She recalled Kohberger talking constantly during their blank class. He would pick fights with other classmates. She described an argument where blank left the class upset. She had heard he had an incident with a female professor where Kohberger disagreed with the grade he was given. Kohberger went to a male professor to complain about the grade. The female professor was blank. Oh, so this was like something about he thought he should have been graded better. Okay. She described Kohberger as weird, but he had never threatened her. In one instance after class, Kohberger and her were alone. When she was trying to leave the classroom, he blocked her exit. She described him blocking her with his physical stance, like he got actually like physically in front of her. I would have throat chopped that bro. I don't give a damn. Like, I'm sorry, but if you were physically in front of me and you're not letting me move past you, I'm going to hurt you, and then I'm going to call the cops on you and explain why you're on the ground crying like a little biatch. Why would anyone even allow anyone to do this and not instantly do the right thing when it came to it? And why would that instantly not throw a red flag whenever all this stuff started going on for them to have called the police and turned him in as a suspect way before he was arrested? Kohberger said they should meet up sometime and talk about her professional career. She felt like he just wanted to keep the discussion going even though class was over. Is this the one that he asked out? Is that what this is? After the homicides, Kohberger stopped bringing a cell phone to class and started bringing a laptop. How do you know? Maybe he just didn't take his phone out during class. Why are you watching this boy's phone? She never saw Kohberger use a laptop. He had a school-assigned laptop. The F you mean? Prior to the homicide, she noticed him always using his phone because he was very studious. She believed he would take notes on phone. Girl, you're tripping. She described a change in his appearance after the homicides. He would normally be clean-shaven and neatly dressed. After the homicides, he would come to class with facial hair and his dress would be disheveled. He also started wearing a thick blue coat that he never took off during a 3-hour class. The weather did not really call for a heavy coat. I mean, you can't really tell somebody if they're cold or not. She described Kohberger engaging regularly in classroom discussions. After the homicides, the topic was discussed during class. She thought it was odd that Kohberger never participated in the discussions about the Moscow homicides. Kohberger continued to engage in other discussions and appeared to be more cheerful. Is that even true, though? Because he was literally bringing up this shit with, like, everyone that lived in his apartment complex. The neighbors, the guy that he like would go on walks with, like he discussed this case with all kinds of other people. So why are we going to sit here and believe? Maybe he didn't talk to you about it. You know? Because he talked to like all kinds of other people about it. They've all come out and said it. But he would make comments about, you know, certain things he was hearing. Okay. Kohberger was always playing the devil's advocate in class. During the semester, students were required to read 4 books. The third book they were required to read was a book about DNA evidence. She recalled Kohberger being heavily involved in the discussions about the book in class. Oh my God, just like everyone else in the classroom. Girl, Kohberger was at a department bar outing at a downtown bar in Pullman, Washington. The outing occurred in October. Kohberger purchased a bottle of wine and drank the entire bottle. But he doesn't understand why people drink? Is that for real? Do we know that to be true? Do we know that to be true? Is that where the receipts came from? Or no, that was a place in Moscow. I'm about to say Kaylee's receipts from October, but that was a place in Moscow, so not even relevant. Okay. She was aware of a running tally some of the female students had. Oh, is this where Steve got this from? The tally tracked his tardiness to female instructor-led classes versus male instructor-led classes. Y'all need, like, hobbies, bro. Or a man. What? The tally showed he was constantly late to female instructor classes and never late to male instructor classes. Girl, you either got it hard for somebody who don't like you, or you really just have a lot of severe problems. Because what is this? What? This is dumb. She was not aware of other blank. They're basically stalking him. Like, you realize that they're claiming that they were stalking him. He should file charges. He should file charges against these people for stalking him. What? She was not aware of other blank requesting escorts out of the building because they feared Kohberger. At approximately 3:25 p.m., the interview ended. This girl is wild as shit. You need a hobby, a man, a woman. You need a something. Don't get a pet. That poor thing does not deserve any of this, but go do something with yourself. Because what is this, you stalker? You a stalker. And then for you to be like, oh my God, I watched him drink a whole bottle of wine. Oh my God. Oh my God. Girl, are you one of those ones that have like Bryan shrines in their closet? I'm really curious because what you following him like that for? Girl. Yes. And they admit it. What? Imagine being called a stalker by a stalker that only thinks you're a stalker because they're stalking you. What the shit? Oh, I needed that laugh. That woke me up a little bit. These people are damn crazy. All right. This is the last one for the day, and then we're going to go again live tonight. Wow. Alrighty. This is for this tip number. This is for supplement number 95. This is Leslie Lehman, again with District 1. This says that on November 18th, 2022, so we're going back again to before the arrest. On November 18th, 2022, Leslie Lehman, along with ISP detective Jacob Schwecke, interviewed blank with year of birth 1989 at blank in Idaho, where he was employed. An email tip, number 40, had been sent to the Moscow Police Department requesting detectives investigate the whereabouts of a subject most likely to be blank on November 12th and 13th due to his lengthy behavior issues and his living within close proximity to the 1122 King Street address. Moscow officers were able to provide information regarding this 33-year-old white male. So this dude has issues and lives close. I just crossed that all the way out. Okay. Let's see. Moscow officers were able to provide information regarding blank, including current employer. Blank agreed to sit down to an interview at 1200 hours. The interview was audio recorded. Blank did not know anything about the homicides on November 13th, 2022. Blank said he did not know any of the victims. Blank had not heard anything around town and was only familiar with the case based on what has been released on the news. Blank confirmed he lived on blank near the area where the homicides occurred. Blank said he was at the blank church during the evening hours of November 12, 2022 until 2200 hours. Following activity night at the church, blank from the church returned blank to his apartment where he remained until going to the blank center on November 13th, 2022 at 1200 hours. Blank was alone at his apartment. Blank works on computers and watches movies while at his apartment. Blank initially heard about the homicides at work. Blank did not hear or see anything unusual on November 12, 2022 near his apartment. Blank seemed truly concerned about the homicides and wished he had more information. Blank said he does not spend time around the Greek community. Blank worked Tuesdays through Fridays from 9:30 hours until close. Blank has a history degree from the University of Idaho, but has not been involved with the university recently. The audio recording of the interview has been provided to Moscow PD. That's it. So this guy didn't like say anything or like know anything. Okay, well, good to know that that was pointless. That was pointless. Okay, let me check and see if there's anything over here yet. No. No. Okay. So that's it for this morning. We did a little over 2 hours. We watched that one interview thingy. I might clip it, but probably not at the same time. But I might clip it. We'll see. Again, their clickbait title is what's going to bring a bunch of people in there because they're going to think that they're going to get all the tea about a connection just for him to be like, yeah, we dug real deep, bro. There. It ain't there. So yeah, that's interesting too. Enon is or was he at the time? Because I'm still waiting for something about him to like pop up in here, and so far I'm not seeing anything at all that sounds anything like him. So yeah. So yeah, again, we're going to go live again tonight at 7:45, like the normal time, and continue. I'm going to be releasing a video in the middle of an update on a case that's really important to the channel. A little boy named Noel went missing from Everman, Texas, whenever we still lived closer to that area near Fort Worth. And he'd been missing for months and months and months before they even reported him missing. He was last seen October 2022, and he wasn't reported missing until March of 2023. Well, a couple months ago, they put his POS mother on the top 10 most wanted list for the FBI because she and her husband and their other children fled to India as soon as the word started breaking out that he was finally being reported missing. They finally captured her ass. So I have a video that I put together of that update, and we're going to be following that because once she gets back to the United States, she better start speaking. She better start opening her mouth and saying something about where he is. We know that death dogs found the scent at the property, but could not find his body. So hopefully now she starts speaking so that the truth can come out and he can finally be laid to rest. So keep an eye out for that update video. It's only going to be about 9 or 10 minutes long because all we have now is the fact that her ass was finally arrested. Thank everything. Once they said she was in India, I had no hope. I really figured they're not going to follow her all the way to India for a 6-year-old. I was wrong. And I'm freaking so happy that I was wrong because I really thought that was going nowhere. I just can't believe they finally got her. It's amazing. Freaking amazing. Okay. Thank you so much for being with me this morning. Let me go see what I missed over here because it looks like I missed some stuff. Well, welcome, Brooke. Welcome, Brooke. Thank you for joining. 20 gifted memberships. Thank you so much, Steph. I appreciate that. Congratulations to those who have gotten gifted memberships. Have we ever heard anything from the Washington State Police? Surely they're a part of the task force. Thank you for the 5, Christian. No, not yet. No, not yet. And I'm sure that they did something. They had to have. They had to have. So no, I don't know if they're going to create anything, if they're going to release anything. I honestly didn't FOIA them. I guess I should. So thank you for even like reminding me about that. I guess I should. I'll do that today and see what they do. But they might follow suit with Pullman and Moscow and Latah County, and they might just go ahead and create like a portal. Speaking of like requests and stuff, I like have my request in with ISP, right? Even after like a couple days after they released the like portal website thing, I got an email response about how like the requests for information in this case were like backed up, and so they needed like more time to respond. So I'm like, in my brain, I'm like, but y'all put a web link out like with your public information. So does that mean that like there's more going to come separately in the requests themselves, or are you wasting everybody's time by emailing everybody everything that's already public? Like, I don't know what that means. So I guess we're going to find that out pretty soon. Thanks for the 5, Debs. First live I've caught. Just showed back down from 1.5. Yeah, you have to like, if you listen to me at like 2x, I sound like one of the chipmunks. I have to do that sometimes whenever I'm editing so I can like get it done. And I sound crazy. I know. I sound super crazy whenever you speed that up. Speed that up. What you mean? What's happening with YouTube names? Oh, you know what? Somebody did say something the other day about why was there randomly some numbers behind their names, and they were a member that had been in here for like a while. I don't remember who it was though. YouTube does that sometimes. A lot of people say that if there's like 4 digits or something behind the username that it's a bot account, but then there's like people that have been here for a long time that suddenly their handle starts showing up differently. There are definitely like people that have been here for a while. So I don't know. YouTube does stupid shit all the time. That's why you constantly have to like unsubscribe and then resubscribe in order for your notifications to like reset and start showing up. A lot of times, I mean, it does all kind of crazy stuff. All kinds of crazy stuff. But again, thank you so much for being here with me early today for the first time in a super, super long time. Thank you for the super stickers and the super chats, the members that joined in, the gifted memberships. You guys are great for being here and to go over these documents. And again, we're going to be live later on tonight, and be on the lookout for my little update about Noelle, because once she's here and she's going into court, we're going to be following the hearings and following what she has to say. And they better have him too. Because her dude, the stepdad, stole $10,000 from his boss before they fled to India. And they had all those other kids. So all those kids better still be alive. They better have been found along with her. And he better be arrested too. Okay, I can't wait to get more into that more into that case. I'm so happy that they arrested her. Big highlight. Big highlight. Again, thank you so much for being here with me today. I will see you guys later on this evening. Let me go ahead and roll this out. Please do not forget to leave a like on your way out and subscribe to the channel if you are not subscribed already. All right, you guys. See y'all.